Keep your radio dial right here. You're locked into the hottest news station on the planet. Hot 702.5 in FM sound. Blazing today's hip hop, R&B, and pop music. Keeping your radio on fire. Bringing you the hottest, realest, riskiest talk shows live 24/7 on hot7025fm.com.
What's up, y'all? It's your boy Big Shook, host of the Undrafted All-Star Sports Show. Man, listen, if you want some real down south, Louisiana-style Cajun food, you need to go check out DB's Cajun Kitchen. Yo, they got lobster and grits, seafood boils, signature fries, signature po' boys, signature egg rolls, and desserts. Oh, and my favorite, them gumbo tacos. Yo, they open from 11 to 8, Wednesday to Monday, 7 to 5:30 on Sunday. Located in North Las Vegas at 4343 North Rancho Drive. They even have to-go orders and catering. Hit them up, 725-780-1850, or go to the website, dbcajunkitchen.com. So, yo, don't just tell your friends about me. Tell them about DB's Cajun Kitchen.
What's going on, everybody? It's your main man, 360, the poet from the Morning Wood, and I'm here to talk to you about the Sci-Fi Center. It's your Vegas home for science fiction, horror, and fantasy. From comic books, toys, and posters to movie screenings and live events, they've got you covered. Located at 900 Cameron Avenue, Suite B209, give them a call, 702-900-4335, or reach them at thescificenter.com.
Hey y'all, it's your girl Cheryl Underwood, and you're tuned into the hottest news station on the planet, Hot 702.5.
It's your main man, 360, the poet from the Morning Wood. And are you looking for the perfect drink? Well, you found it. Mimosa Royale is the perfect combination of California sparkling white wine and natural juice that is both tasty and refreshing. No artificial colors or flavors, no sugar added, and it's gluten-free. As the world's first ready-to-drink mimosa, Mimosa Royale is perfect for any occasion, day or night. You no longer have to drink 12 of those seltzers just to get that perfect buzz. At 8% alcohol, Mimosa Royale is the perfect drink to party with. Offered in a variety of flavors and sizes, you are bound to find a Mimosa Royale that you'll love. We have berry, mango, apple, and orange, with more flavors to come. Mimosa Royale is the most award-winning flavored wine that serves in bottles or cans. You can find them online at drinkmimosa.com or find them at your local liquor store. Ask for it by name. Mimosa Royale. JHOMIE@gmail.com. That's right. Holla at the homie at THAGO. You know what I mean? You know how to spell it. But what y'all doing out there? It's Wednesday. What's happening with you? Who that's out there? Oh, there we go. Now I can hear myself in my ears. Now I can hear my styling diva. What's up, Arnini? What's going on with you? What's up, Rocky Wrights? Hey, what's going? Hey, we need to do some projects together, Rock. I got something in mind. I thought about you the other day, homegirl. But that's what's up. What's going on, neighbor Nicole? Juju 81 happening out there. What's up? Everybody checking in, tapping in with the homie. Well, we got a good one today. We talking about how do you dissolve a business relationship without dissolving a friendship, without destroying the friendship. We talking all kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Chill will. That's it. That's who it is. I'm in this thing like a wedgie, baby. You already know what's happening. Let me go over here on this side with my comments. See what's happening over here. You know, my engineers be back in the back doing their thing, and I just be dancing around this whole little screen while it's happening right here live and direct. Let me get a little bit of this soursop tea. You know, everybody and their uncle done told me to make sure I get my soursop. And so I keep that on deck, you dig? So I keep that soursop nice and hot and on deck. But we're going to talk about some good stuff today, all positivity. We got plus side of things going on. Checking my monitors while all that's happening behind the scenes. The BTS, and I'm not talking about the K-pop group. I'm talking about what's going on, Pam Pam. Oh, what was that? I heard something going on over here. Oh, we good. So we cracking. We cracking like Jimmy Crack Corn. What's going on, Pamela? But yeah, we while the BTS is going on back here, I'm still able to connect and direct with all the people over here. I can't. There we go. Now I can hear. Yeah, we on like cone. So what y'all doing out there today? What y'all at? Where y'all at? What y'all doing? And what y'all doing where y'all at? You know, we right here at Hot 7025, right in the heart of Viva Las Vegas. Yeah, we right here down here near the strip doing our thing. What's going on, Miss Latra, a.k.a. Big Sister out there? TSU Alumni Tigers. What's happening? I love this. Oh, there I am. Oh, I'm loud in my ear now. Now I can turn myself down a little bit. Woo! There we go. See, when I can't hear me, I don't know if I'm yelling at y'all or whether or not I'm just talking and being conversational. Like I do, like the homie 360 do. We out here chilling, kicking it, getting it in one time. So today we got a good letter. I always like to give my disclaimer before I go into my letters. You at the #1 advice column online or in person. I got your main man 360 right here on the line. So I always give my disclaimer. I always let people know I have not been, I will not, I probably won't ever go to school for any type of psychology, psychiatry, or counseling, right? But what I have done is I've lived a colorful life, you know, and I've lived close enough and vicariously enough to other people to where I can kind of sponge up some of what they dropping off, and so I can squeeze it back out to y'all out there in the public. So it's a lot of these situations that people are directing towards me. Either I've been through them or somebody close enough to me has been through them to where my nosy / observant ass has paid attention enough to kind of squeeze up and soak up some of that game that was before me, so I can kind of deliver it back. So you can't deliver the game if you don't have the whole message. You got to get your whole lesson in before you can start spitting that game back out at other people. So in the event that I run across something I only got partial what I got, I dig into my research. I holler at the people that have been through this. I was like, hey, when you went through this, tell me how that made you feel, you know? And then I kind of take research on that. So I guess I am being a student of the game at all times, but I have not paid tuition, but except for with my time. Ooh, there we go. We got some lights. Clamshell. Lights. But so now that we got that out the way, I'm going to go ahead and talk to y'all. We're going to dive straight into this letter. It says, Dear Holla at the homie, I've been grappling with a tough decision and thought your insights might shed some light. What's going on, Triple D? It says, my close friend and I are business partners, but lately things have become challenging. The dynamics between us are strained, and I'm unsure if it's time to move on. How can I navigate this delicate situation and decide whether it's best for both of our friendship and our business to part ways professionally? Sincerely, contemplative collaborator. So that was short and straight to the point. Like, they wanted to know how can they figure out what's going on between them and their friend to where they don't mess up. Danny, ain't nobody eating that all-you-can-eat app, that nasty place. You don't care how many times you deliver us that. I'm not eating there, man. That was my first restaurant job. I'm not eating there ever again. But anyway, so this person's trying to figure out how to navigate through this delicate situation, right? So first of all, big shout out to the person, what's their name? Contemplative collaborator, for coming out here and just at least giving me a chance to kind of help you navigate through your whole situation with your business and your friendship dilemma, right? So that's first and foremost. And anytime somebody sends me a letter, anytime somebody sends me a text, phone call, voicemail, whatever it is, however you get your message across to me to where I can get it back across to everybody out that's listening, I appreciate you, because that means you taking the time to actually consider what it is you want to say, and you come on and you put it into some words or put it into some writing and or a voice message or whatever you deliver, your passage of delivery is, and you get it to me. So I thank you for at least taking out the time to do that, right? So to this person, contemplative collaborator, big ups, big shout out to you, right? So so I get it, right? Like, I get it. All of my fellow peanut gallery, as I like to call them out here, because I got fellow counselors and life coaches out here that's online. They give their piece of advice as well, right? So I get it. We get it, right? These decisions, stuff like that, when it comes to businesses and friendships, it's really not a walk in the park, right? It's no like, oh, I got this. It just happens every day, right? It takes courage, First of all, it takes courage to understand and recognize whenever something's not working. That's in business, that's in friendships and personal relationships. It takes courage to recognize if something is not working, right? So not to say that y'all, because it doesn't say here that your friendship is in any jeopardy of not being, cohesive. What it says here is that lately things have become challenging because the dynamics between the two of you are strained, and you're not sure if it's time to move on. So my recollection or assumption, I don't like to assume because it makes an ass out of somebody. But my assumption is that, you're strained in your business life, right? So I'm thinking that you want to make sure you can kind of hold on to your friendship because you said, I want to see if it's best for both our friendship and our business to part ways professionally. You specified professionally. And again, like I said, maybe you may have called it a teaser. I've successfully I went into business with one of my closest friends, right? And people say, don't mix friendship and business, don't mix family and business, because this person to me he's family. He ain't just a friend. He's a family member. In my eyes, he's family, because loyalty makes you family. It's not your bloodline, right? So I went into business with a family member, right? And, everybody was worried and making sure, because everybody know how I am and everybody knows how he is. And, people were wondering whether or not like this whole dynamic of business would work or would continue to work once we got it off the ground. And we came to a point where our dynamics at looking at it, our philosophies on the business began to, abscond from one another. Not saying like, what that direction was right or this direction was right. It was just what we thought about it was just different. And the first thing we came to is the first thing I'm gonna say to you is whenever you untangling this business web, right? This web of going into business with somebody who you care about outside of it. When you go into business with somebody who's just a fellow investor, you're really not invested in each other. Because like, what I'm saying? You're really not invested into that person themselves, right? But when you go into business with somebody who you care about, who you love, then now you got more invested in it than just money, right? So the first thing I say is whenever you untangle in one of these friendship or business friendships or business partnership webs, communication is key, right? I always say that. The first thing first is how are you talking to each other? How are you listening to each other? Are you listening to absorb what this other person say something? You say I'm sounding real slow then fast. Maybe you probably took some shrooms, Danny. So communication is key. So you really got to be able to have that real heart to heart with somebody. And when you're having a heart to heart with somebody, what does that entail? That means you're putting your heart on the line, your mind on, your feelings on the line, as are they, right? You're trying to fill each other out as far as like, what all do I have to give to this conversation? Because I love you and I love the idea of what we started, but for some reason, my philosophy and your philosophy may differ in certain ways. So how do we keep this? How do we keep the business going for one of us or both of us and still keep our friendship? Or how do we just make sure we can either dissolve the business and keep our friendship? And, like I say, communication was really, really important when it came time for one of my best friends and I to go our separate ways in the business. Now, we had a good conversation too. Jay and I had a good conversation, but it took us figuring out our communication styles, both business and personal, both when dealing with one another. It took us to figure those out within the first, however, a year and a half, 2 years before, we started to, go in different directions, business, philosophy wise. Right. And so, but by that time, we learned how to talk to each other and how to listen to each other. So that was very important. So the first things, if you're in business with somebody, hopefully you've already established these things on how you want to be talked to and how they want to be talked to and how you want to be received and what it takes for them to feel as if they are being received. So by the time you go into business and the time this business goes in a different direction, I'm prayerful, I'm hopeful, I'm thinking that you had the business mind to already have these things understood. So I'm speaking from the premise of that, right? So I'm speaking from the idea that you already know how to talk to one another because now the communication that you have is crucial. How do you talk to this person about I think that I would like to go this way, or do you think that we should do this with the business? How do you approach that person? That's first things first. You got to understand, how do you make that happen first? You know? And by doing that, you got to be honest about your feelings. There's no tiptoeing around it. If you feel like the business could be doing more, if you feel like they're on you too much about the business, if you feel like the philosophies are going in different directions because you want to focus on customer service and they want to focus on marketing, or, whatever, there's so many different things that can splinter when it comes time for that, right? What is splintering you? So you have to be honest about where that splinter is coming from. Be honest about it. Have a plan to talk to that person about how can we make sure that we're able to be heard in this conversation. How can I make sure that they feel heard in this conversation? Make sure that you've had all of this planned out already. That's first things first. So when you come with your honesty, like I said, you got to be honest about your feelings. Then the challenges that you're facing, if you're honest about those, and if you have a listening perspective as well, then now you already got one domino out the way. You've already got one thing out of the way in regards to, like, okay, so now I know what they want to hear. Now I know what I want to say. Now I know how I want to feel and how they'll feel felt and feel heard. Okay, cool. So now when you got to go into that, now you got to consider, like, what is the root issue that's causing the strain? Now you got to, if you're the one going to and presenting the conversation, you got to find out and you pinpoint what is it, because they're going to ask. Everybody's going to ask. If you're in a relationship and somebody it's not working out with you and somebody in a relationship, they're going to ask, well, what is it? What's the issue? What is it causing you this problem? You have to find out and understand, consider the initial root issue causing the strain. Is it a different in vision? Is it a difference in work styles? Is it some external factors, like, you feel like, what's up, Lulu? You feel like somebody not hustling enough. What is it that's causing you to feel as if this ain't gonna work? What's going on, MVP? When you be like, this ain't gonna work. This not working for me. Not our friendship, but this business relationship is not working. So now we together collectively as business partners need to find a way. We got in this together, so let's get out of this together. In some instances, maybe like mine, one person sold the other person their share of the company. Find a mark in, a number. What I mean by that, find a number that makes you feel comfortable, that makes them feel comfortable. If nothing else, one thing my big brother taught me, he was like, if it's a win-win, that's a good business deal. That means both people come out feeling like they winning. That's what HOA mean. I know, because you running things. You probably the HOA queen over there, Lulu. They probably be like, oh, here come Miss Tally. Yeah, get them. Make sure they ain't parking their cars on the grass. But I appreciate you. See you next week, darling. But first you got to understand, like, what is it that's causing this? Like, is it something externally that's causing this? Is it a way that we can buy each other out? Is there a way that we can either sell the business and figure out if the numbers that go half and half or whatever percentages that you are in the business represent come back to you? If you feel like you don't lose. Like I said, my big brother taught me. He said, bro, if it's not a win-win, it's not a good business deal, man. He said, you shouldn't come out of it feeling like you got over on somebody, and they shouldn't come out of it feeling like they got over on you. Even if in hindsight, one or the other may be true, they should not go in feeling that way, as if like, damn, I got to steal. No, you should go in feeling like that was a good deal For me, that was a good deal. For them, I don't feel cheated. They don't feel cheated. So that's where that conversation's got to be derived from the good business deal point of view, right? How do I figure out what exactly it is that's got me rooting? You know, that's the root cause that's got me straining. And then how do I go about addressing it and finding these things, right? If it's vision, if it's work style, if it's external factors, now I got to talk about those. You can't just go in with a blanket conversation. That's one thing for sure. You cannot. You absolutely cannot. Again, I'm never here to tell you what to do. I'm just here to tell you what can be done. I'm honest about it. I'm just here to say, like, because if you try to go in with, okay, I know I'm going to talk about this. You know, yes, have your bullet points, have your moments to where you say like, hey, you know, I want to make sure we cover this. I want to make sure we cover this. I want to make sure we cover that. So nobody feels like there was any ambiguity about what the conversation was in the first place. You know, understanding the core problems can kind of guide you to making your decision, can kind of help you through that process. Right? You know, you got to first things first, you got to figure out what the root of the problem is, right? Then you got to dive into those core issues, finding out how to solve each one individually. And then you got to assess the impact on both of you. How much is this going to hurt you? How much will this hurt them? You know, because the impact is anytime you getting rid of a business or anytime you're, you know, getting out of a relationship, there's some impact, meaning there was something that was, something took a toll on whether you, on them, something took a toll somewhere. So you got to assess the impact on both of your professional and your personal lives, meaning like, how is it going to mess up somebody's credit if y'all do this? Or, you know, that's on the professional side of things. The personal life is it your in-law and y'all went into business together and now is the family going to look at y'all different if y'all not in business together, if the business is continuing. So you have to assess both the impact on your professional and your personal lives, like weigh the pros and cons for like continuing the partnership. You may not even be a point where you have to dissolve the business partnership. You may not even be there yet because you haven't had the conversation. Go EJ. Oh, that's my EJ. Aaron J in the building. I just thought about you today. Right-handed guy. Thinking about top dog, underdog. We're going to talk about that later. But you got to assess the real impact that is making that, you know, on both of your professional and your personal lives. Like, is this going to mess up somebody's credit? Is this going to mess up the family dynamic? Or are we even at the point that we have to break this whole, do we got to break the band up? Do we have to break the band up? Does this have to be a Diana Ross and the Supremes type thing? Or can this be more of like we can do BBD and New Edition. That way we can still come back together, still got some umbrella-ness. That way, just in case we need to bank off. What's up, Arthur Cox? Arthur Lee in the building. Salute, big dog. You know, do we have to break up the band? Find that out. Look at the pros and cons. What's going on, Mrs. Robinson? Pam said, they ain't coming to see you, Otis. That's the truth. I mean, I get that. I mean, if it's a David Ruffin in the group, out of your business partnership, then maybe somebody got to step. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe somebody got to say, maybe unless you're gonna call it something different. If that's part of the dynamic where somebody feels like they're putting in more and not getting back what they putting in that conversation that you having, if they feeling that way, then maybe you do change the name of the group. Diana Ross and the Supremes. What up, Precious Cuts? Maybe you change it to David Ruffin and the Temptations. You know, but ain't nobody coming to see you, Otis. If ain't nobody coming to see you, then you got to think about that part of it too. If you're not the driving force behind the business, are you feeling slighted? Are you feeling less than? Real question to ask yourself, right? Ask yourself these questions before you go in asking the question of your business partner. See, remember, I always say when you point one finger, 3 fingers point right back at you. That means me, myself, and I. Those are the components that involve you. You, the person that's pointing the finger, these are the things that I'm bringing to the table that are contributing to this situation. So what are your contributions to the demise of this business? Ask yourself these questions before you go asking of your business partner, like, what's up? You know, I can tell Jay had these conversations with himself before he came to me asking these questions of our business. He had it in order. He had it in line. What up, Mike Denardi? He had these thoughts in order. What's up, Lucy Lowe? Hey, man. You know, he had these because when he came, his conversation was laid out. It left room for, reply, left room for question answer, and that's why I believe we were able to successfully abscond from one another in business, right? Meaning like we were able to separate amicably because I believe he put the legwork in before he presented this conversation to me. That's why I'm able to answer this question for, what's my writer's name? Contemplative collaborator. I'm able to answer this question for you so easily because I was the person on the other side of these thoughts in a business situation already myself. So the person that came to me, communication was key. We knew how we wanted to talk to each other. We knew how we felt heard from one another, right? So going back to revamp and go back over everything, we scheduled a time to talk. We put it on the books. This is business. So let's put it on the books, treat it as such, right? So we went in business-wise. So that helps eliminate the family connection. And now we're talking how we connected business-wise. Because like I say before, when you're in business with somebody who you care about, who you love, a friend, a family member, there's more to it than just the X's and O's. There's more to it than just the decimal points because there's a connection elsewhere. So again, we have to consider what the root issue was that was causing him strain. So you have to do the same. Find out what the root cause of your strain might be. Again, is it a difference in vision? Is it a difference in work style? Are there external factors that are contributing to the strain you feel is being brought upon your business relationship? Because it may not be the business itself. It may just be the relationship of the business that's not working. Because the business may be thriving, but the business relationship somewhere along the line may not be on the same page. So again, consider those things. But then once you consider those things, you have to understand the core of the problems that can guide your decision-making process, right? Meaning like each individual thing that you find out, break that down. Okay, if it's our vision. So maybe in the beginning, we both talked about let's do X, Y, and Z. And all I'm seeing is Z. He's feeling he's got X and Z, but we still wondering where's the Y. At least that's how I'm feeling. If that's part of it, break that part of it down. Understand each core root problem that brought you. Each domino that's bringing you to fall down, 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 down. You got to dissect each one of them. What does that say? Michael Denari said facts, and you don't want the business to suffer. Exactly. You never want the business to suffer because you're feeling a certain way about your business partner. So you have to be willing to schedule a heart-to-heart. Like I say, it's heart-to-heart now because you're connected. What up, Knockout? You connected to each other by the heart because you love each other, your friends, your family member, right? So that's why it's a heart-to-heart. It's not just a business meeting that you put onto the books. Yes, you put it on the calendar and treat it as business, but you have to understand that you come and have a heart-to-heart about what we can do to save our friendship, to save our familyship, but do something different to either move beyond with this business or find a way to where it works out better for one or the other of us. To continue on with it, but to make sure it feels like a win-win for both sides. Yeah, it may seem like I'm talking a lot. It may seem like I'm saying a lot, but there's a lot that's involved in being a business owner. And let's normalize not saying small business owner anymore. Because if you think small business, I'm thinking small, right? I am a growing business owner. See that? One change in verbiage, right? Instead of being small business owners, let's not have small business Saturday. Let's have growing business Saturday. Because if you say a small business Saturday, that means all those businesses are going to stay small. You want it to be big, right? So you don't want to just say, well, I'm big business. No, just say I'm a growing business. You feel me? So I'm no longer claiming to be a small business owner. I am a growing business owner because I want to watch it grow. I want to watch it stack. So as people, if you're in a business relationship with somebody, it's probably a growing business relationship, right? Again, because we're not saying small. I like that. Ikri say big business with a smaller amount of employees. I never say small business. I like that too. However you can put your verbiage on it to where the mentality of everybody who's associated with it, meaning whoever comes in its path, understands that this business in itself is, wherever you see it, it's going to be bigger than the next time you get an eyeball on it, because it's a growing business. You dig? What's going on, Christy? Cred. So again, once we did, when do we go? Let's go back. Let's see. We scheduled a meeting. We got our challenges that are facing us on the table, at least, right? So then we got to consider each one that's causing us the issues, right? Then we got to understand them individually. That's going to help us through our process. And then after that, I said we have to assess the impact that it has on us individually in regards to our professional and our personal lives. Meaning, like, if we break this business up, is it going to mess up somebody's credit? Or if we break this business up, is it going to cause some divorce somewhere down the line? It's going to cause a ripple. So, and if those things are being in there, weigh the pros and cons about dissolving the partnership altogether. Figure out what can be fixed in it is another option. Again, I never tell people what to do. I just give you options of what can be done, right? So, but then you got to think at it like this, because sometimes a well-constructed exit plan can minimize the amount of fallout. Like, if y'all construct this exit plan together, if y'all can come up with something together to where y'all feel like y'all are putting the dynamite, if y'all gonna blow this whole thing up, if y'all decide to blow this whole thing up, sell it, do whatever with it, let it die, whatever y'all decision may be. If y'all decide that nobody's gonna fool with it anymore, y'all both putting a stick of dynamite in it, and y'all get to light the fuse together and watch it, and boom. So if y'all construct a well-designed plan to get out of this, that can minimize the amount of damage that it causes to you personally and professionally. What up, Shells? Light work? I need a bracelet on this arm over here. It's looking a little naked. So that's what you got to look at it like that. So if you are in a growing business situation with somebody and they're your friend or they're your family member, that's what we're talking about today. How do you go about either fixing it or dissolving this business without destroying the friendship? I always say communication is the number one thing. I always say the number one thing is communication. So if you both decided it's time to part ways professionally, outline that. Figure out a clear transition. How can we get from where we are to where we're trying to be and leave all this behind us? Notice I didn't come down. I'm not coming down. I don't come down. I'm on a natural high. I don't ever come down. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm always going to go up. So how do we go from where we are up? What's up, Sadiddy? Inch Mob checking in. I love my Inch Mob check in. But, you know what I'm saying? How do we go from where we are to where we're trying to get without destroying us as an entity? Meaning without destroying our friendship, Like I said, I was in business with one of my best friends on the planet, and I'm thankful to God that he's still one of my best friends on the planet, and we're not even in business together anymore. See what I mean? It's possible. It's possible. I'm actually about to see him this weekend. We did not dissolve our brotherhood, but we found a way by dissecting what it was that was keeping us from being on the same page business-wise. And we found a way to smooth it out. You understand what I'm saying? So that makes a big difference. You have to humble yourself. Understand that if it's something that you see that's wrong with them in the situation, that there's more than likely 99% chance that they see something that involves you that's causing a rift in it. Like I always say, like I say, when you point that one finger, 3 fingers point right back at you. That's me, myself, and I. These are the ways that I am contributing to the issue. And now I got to find those. And now I got to compare and contrast them with the ones I see coming from the other side. And let's decipher on whether or not maybe I'm the problem. Or maybe there isn't a problem at all. It's just things aren't being seen and heard from the perspective of those who are trying to see and hear them. Meaning, like, again, if you talk about them, if you discuss them, if you put out a well-designed plan together, you can either get on from this relationship of business or you can repair this relationship of business without ever putting a dent, scratch, and or blemish on your friendship. Wow. How can we do that 360? It is possible. And I'm only telling you that because I done it. I have been a part of a business relationship that was with a very, very close friend. And that person is still my very, very close friend. And we no longer do business in that way. We got other adventures. We just say, okay, well, let's not do that one. Let's go over here and let's do this. Let's try this one out. That didn't work. And we were able to talk about it. So that's what makes it that's what makes us. But I'm thankful because he came to the table with the right mentality. And that in turn taught me how to continue with that mentality. And that's how we were able to fix and move on. And I'm sure the same thing can happen for you, contemplative collaborator. I know the same thing can happen for you if you plan it out properly. Because like I said, a well-constructed exit plan might be the best thing going for y'all, but y'all have to put it together. You see what I mean? You have to put that exit plan together. One person can't do it and the other one just follow along. Nah, that's like a fireman just coming to show you where you can get out this smoky room. No, together we gonna put this plan and we gonna make it out together on the other side. And that's a good feeling because that way you know that at least you held on to the most important part of this, that was the one that brought you to each other, and that's your friendship. What's that you say, Sadiq? You said, do you think we have a harder time trusting one another in business as black folk? And yeah, we do. And a lot of times that's pre-programmed from both ways. A lot of times people are pre-programmed within our community to make people feel as if like, I don't really trust this shady ass, But then on the other side is us like, well, I don't really going into it feeling like, well, I don't really trust black folks. But, I don't really know if I'm going to do business with you. But then you turn around and do business with the next everybody else, and get done dirty. And be like, well, why they always doing us like that? What up, trouble in Vegas? And what I'm saying? Why they always doing us like that? Because you didn't take the chance to trust the person that looks like you when you look in the mirror. Yes, I do believe we have a harder time trusting one another in business as black folks. To answer your question, Sadiqa 313. Straight from the day. Yes, I believe that we do. I believe that wall in between us and us is getting slimmer. That I do believe because I have seen more and more of us go into business together and take on the mentality that we're going to do this as a collective. Once people started to understand the idea of a collective being just, working better at times, because when you come as a collective, it doesn't matter if you're 20% invested, somebody else is 50% invested, you're all invested, right? But it's as a collective. So you know what you'll be getting out of it. You know exactly what you'll be getting out of it. You know what I'm saying? So with that being the case, I think it's becoming a little bit easier for us to work together. What's that you say? Style and Diva 101, communication and mentality is the best way for sure. Oh, you got to have the right mentality first to get you to the communicative state. In order for you to be ready to have your communication ready, you got to have the proper mentality. So you are 100% right on that, Style and Diva 101, because if you come into it with the right frame of mind, the words will fall into play the way they're supposed to. For you and for the person it's like tennis or volleyball or whatever, you're going back and forth over the net without interruption. If you're just doing warm-ups, you're not trying to spike it on them. Yeah, you can bring your point home. You can bring your point home by spiking on them. But again, if we talking business, I'm a firm believer in any good business deal is a win-win. So I'm not spiking on them. They're not spiking it on me, without them knowing I'm ready to defend it. I'm ready to receive what they got. I can dig down there and get the ball. Their point, I can dig it. That's what I mean. I can dig it. I think that's where it came from. I can dig it. Somebody laid a point, spiked a point down and said, "Oh, I can dig it." To all my volleyball players or watchers, y'all understand what I'm talking about, right? I like to use sports metaphors for anything. So again, when you're having a good business deal, it's like volleys, back and forth, back and forth. So if you're able to talk these things out by first being able to get together, again, let's recap. What did I exactly? Okay, volleyball. I always wanted to spike, but I guess I just, I'm 65 inches, not 6'5", you dig? But, so it's like, first you got to first come together and have that heart to heart, come together, talk it out. And once you get there, find out what it is, the very smallest morsel. Where was the first derailment? What was the first thing that caused you to feel as if this ain't going to work? What was, because there's always a root to every problem. There's always a root to every issue. People understand that. Like there's always a reason for everything. So what was it? What was that first splinter in the toothpick that caught you on the lip and was like, I don't like the way that felt. I don't like the way that went. And you're doing this. What was that? Find that. And once you get that, find out what was it? What was its origin? Was it the base of the way off you looked at it, the business? Was it based off how you felt that the business should be doing? Was it something that was outside of the business that caused that first splinter? Are they doing drugs and using up all the money that's supposed to be profit for the business? You know what I mean? Always got to throw either sports or drugs and something. Sports, drugs, and entertainment. I think that was the only Cameron album I ever really liked. SDE, sports, drugs, and entertainment. But like, what's the first splinter? And once you understand that, break that down individually. Like, why did that happen this time? Why did that happen? Because you're gonna have receipts, hopefully, or you're gonna have recollections of why you felt that way about these instances. So find out what was it that allowed that to happen. Look at your me, myself, and I. Point the finger at it. Put your finger down on the paper. Put your finger on the picture, whatever it is, and think about what was your me, myself, and I's involved in that. And once you're to that point, then you understanding the core of the problems. That way it helps you to assess the impact that it'll have on both of you, whether your business or your professional lives, if y'all decide to dissolve this business. If y'all decide to call it quits with the business and go opposite directions, or if somebody's going to take over, or somebody's going to buy each other person out, or if y'all going to sell it and split the profits, however y'all going to split them, how will that impact each of you? What else, Stacey B? How will that impact each of you? How will that find out how that's going to impact you as a business person moving forward, you as a personal individual moving forward, and as well for them. How is that going to affect them? Is it going to mess up with credit? Is it going to do any of those things, right? Because once you find out the weight of the pros and the cons, then that's when you can start to put together that well-constructed exit plan that I was talking about. Because if you've come to this point where you're writing me a letter to find out how to get out of this, then there's got to be an exit plan that's on the horizon, right? What is that exit plan? That well-constructed exit plan. If you both decide to part ways professionally, make sure that you outline a clear transition. Make sure you strategize and put the business plans in order and stabilize and mitigate and navigate through all of the personal impacts on your friendship. How is it going to affect your friendship? How is that? Because that's what you're trying to save here. According to your letter, you want to make sure that you can keep your friendship thriving, but move on from the business side of things. So how are all those things that we talked about before going to work in the favor of your friendship? You know, and I'm always a firm believer in doing what you just did, seeking external advice, whether it be from me or a professional or, you know, there's always some mentors out there or business consultants or, you know, people who are just awesome listeners. Somebody who's an awesome listener is going to let you get everything out, and they're going to ask you the proper questions that are in regards to what it was you just talked to them about. And they're going to give you a fresh perspective, possibly. Possibly they'll give you a fresh perspective. But you can't be afraid to seek those things if you can't find them within the parameters of you and your business partner, of you and your friend, of you and your dog, your bro, your sis, your roadie, your ride or die. If the business didn't work, find a way to keep your foundation, which is your friendship, but make sure the business made sense as it goes away from you two together. Because again, there's so many different ways that it can go away. Like you can sell it. One of y'all can buy it from the other. You know, you can, decide to put it on the shelf for a little bit, put it in a hiatus. However it goes after these conversations occur. That's what you got to remember. Remember that, if you can't get those answers within each other, that you can seek external advice on how to make those happen. Again, like you did today, and writing this letter and finding out from somebody like me. You just happen to run across somebody who's been through the same thing before. So I can tell you with certainty, with emphatic certainty, that if the conversation is had properly, the friendship is never even in jeopardy. If the business, resolution conversation is had properly, your friendship is never in jeopardy. Remember that, go in listening. Go in listening because you want to find out why you feel this way about them in business. So you have to listen to them talk about business. Listen, not go in saying all the things you feel as if you need to get off your chest. Nah, that's not the end all be all. The end all be all is you listening to find out where they stand as well. Because again, you want to salvage the friendship according to your letter. Would you say knockout greed is always a cancer? It's hard when the money hits the wood. And it is. It is like, and that's the thing I just understand. Like if you go in as, like I said, people are more understanding of going in as a collective now with a percentage. Everybody think it all used to have to always be 50-50. Let's go 50-50 business partner. No, if we got 10 people and everybody still don't have to have, 10%. Some people can have 12. Some people can have 2. But if they know we going in as a collective and we trying to make sure that this bottom line is met as a business collective, then we understand that when the money hits the wood, how it gets distributed. Don't think just because we making millions and millions that everybody gonna get millions and millions. No, we still got to understand where the money beforehand, where the overhead is taken care of from. Like as a collective, when you go in with these groups of people, I'm hoping and praying that everybody has an understanding of where we have to go before we start collecting money. How do we get out the red? When we get in the black, and how do we stay in the black and all these things, and then we figure out how the money gets distributed up. Because I'm hoping you're not going into business without a business mind. You can't go in saying like, well, I put up 50,000. I expect to get my 50,000 back in a year. You know what I'm saying? Or next month. Nah, bruh. Your 50,000 gonna come to you in disbursements over the next X amount of years. While we still making money, you still haven't gotten your whole 50,000 back. Just like paying off credit with people. People have to understand when we go in as a collective that the money that you see before us ain't the money that's going to be made to pay you back right away. No, that's going to be the money that's made to keep this business floating so we can pay each other back 10 times, 20 times over. Once we got all the overhead covered. Where's my umbrella? So these are the things you have to understand. We're going into these things, trust your instincts, but also be open to different viewpoints. You got to be open to what they have to say as well. One of the biggest mistakes I used to make is I would go in wanting to get my point across and not giving a damn about the other person's point. That was rude, disrespectful, and them up. Rude as hell. And I recognized it after many, 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 many years, when I started listening to what they were saying. And I started having more successful relationships and more successful conversations and debates and anything else because I started listening to what the other person was saying. I was like, ooh. And I started doing that freestyle rapping. I was like, ooh, if I use what they say against them, they know it's a freestyle. That's part of it. Hit them with the fresh perspective and not the, why you talking about old-ish. That's how we got to look at things, y'all. Like you say, greed is always a cancer, and it's hard. It's hard when that money hit the floor. Everybody want their money back right now. Hungry, hungry hippo. Hungry, hungry hippo. They out there trying to snatch it back. Let me get mine back. Let me get mine back. Nah, I know we made more than 100,000 for this business, but we got to get the business going. We paying it forward so we can pay each other off and back and make money to where we don't even remember what we put into it. We trying to be investors into a company where we don't even remember our initial investment because of how much we making hand over fist right now afterwards. I hope that's everybody's business goal. To get paid off your business. Doing what you love feels like you're not even working. I love talking on the microphone. So anytime I got a microphone, I ain't even working. I'm just living. So live through these conversations. So remember, always be able to be honest about your feelings because the challenges you're facing may open up a whole different perspective. Consider the other root issues causing the strain. Understand the core problems that you can, when you're going into it that will help you through your decision making. Assess the impact that it's going to have on you professionally and personally with both you and your partner. Weigh the pros and cons and whether it's worth even dissolving it or you can continue the partnership. Make sure you got a well-constructed exit plan if you're going to dip. Remember that. And if both sides decide to part ways professionally, remember that personally, that you can have an understanding, what each other has going on by having these conversations prior to, so you can keep your friendship rocking, and always remember that seeking external advice is never a bad thing. It's always good to get a fresh perspective on things because if you're in it, it's hard to smell it. If you living in the soot, it's hard to smell the stink, Like people that smoke cigarettes, they don't smell the cigarettes. But somebody that don't smoke cigarettes, as soon as you walk up on them, they're going to smell you. What'd you say, Shell's light work? When we align with our true self, higher self, the money just flows. Woo! See, I like the sound of that. When we align with our true self, meaning our higher self. Remember, we go up around here. We go up, all the way up. The money just flows. What up, K-Rock? Just popped in on your boy. But yeah, so as always, remember, man, so if y'all got a business partnership going on, it's a friendship, you can always save it, salvage it, and keep your friendship going and not really have to keep the business going. As always, if you got any questions for me, send me an email at hollathehomie@gmail.com. That's HOLLATTHAHOMIE. So until next Wednesday, I've been your main man, the homie 360. I'ma holla at y'all in a minute. What up, James? Compton Q in the building.